Welcome to episode 24 of Oscar Sunday. I'm Austin Johnson,
I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
and this is a Sunday special on Akira Kurosawa's 1950s run, centered around the film that started the decade for the Japanese director, Rashomon. Connor, where are you in your walk with Akira Kurosawa?
I've seen, counting the work we did for this, I have now seen 4 of his films.
Okay.
The 3 we watched, plus Throne of Blood that I saw a few years ago. And he is a very unique, very distinct filmmaker. You can immediately tell a Kurosawa movie.
Oh, yeah.
The man was ahead of his time with how he used his camera. And his influence is all over modern American, European, Asian filmmaking. Like, this guy went across the entire world in his influence. It really is amazing.
Yeah. It truly, it is kind of a shame he's one of those artists that wasn't totally appreciated in his own country at the time.
Yeah.
But in the Western cultures, holy hell, it kind of took everybody by storm. And it starts with Rashomon, right? It starts in 1950. This film that, everybody is talking about it. This guy, Toshiro Mifune, is in it. Whoa, this incredible actor. And it starts this tandem, with these two guys, which really started in the 40s with, Drunken Angel and Snow Trail. Toshiro quickly finds a great chemistry with Akira, and they start working together and make 16 movies together. Holy hell. These guys are incredible, and I get it. Rashomon is awesome. It's an incredible movie. It was my first time seeing it, your first time, and I found it to be extremely engaging, pretty creepy at times, and there's so many movies now that I've watched, in the past, that have come out the past 40, 50 years that I see from Rashomon, the plot devices of, we're going to use different characters to tell the same story, right? But it's all different, and kind of like a vantage point of all these different characters. How incredible, right? For this to come out in 1950 out of Japan from this really bizarre director, Akira Kurosawa, who had a really tough life, mentally. Like I said, he wasn't too popular in Japan. And that just blows me away, that they didn't realize what they had until it was kind of gone,
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. But for me, yes, I've now seen these 3 that we watched, this 1950s run, Rashomon, Seven Samurai, and The Hidden Fortress. But I had also seen Senshiro Shigata, Part 1, Drunken Angel, Snow Trail, and also Throne of Blood, which is just spectacular, right? A great way. That was our first Kurosawa for both of us. So it's a great way to introduce people to him. Now, for Rashomon, is this the movie you would introduce Kurosawa to your friends, maybe, or is there a different one?
There's a different one. So I love a good adventure. I love a good story-driven, character-driven movie. And for me, the favorite of the bunch was The Hidden Fortress.
Let's talk Hidden Fortress.
Okay. So this is a film that was very much used as a blueprint for the main plot of Star Wars.
Yes.
Like the look of it influenced the Empire a lot. The idea of, telling a epic story from the perspective of 2 bumbling fools. In this case, it's these 2 thieves. In Star Wars, it was C-3PO and R2-D2. And it's cool to see that formula. Like this, it's cool to see where it came from. And
hell yeah.
It's such a cool, engaging story. And it's really funny at times. And I love that in America at this time, you had a strictly enforced code dictating how films could be made. We've talked about the Hays Code on this show before.
Yes.
Where in Japan, at the same time, you have a movie where another character is literally calling someone else a shitworm. I mean, I love it. Like, they were experimenting. They were trying new things. They were making film without restrictions. And that's why, modern times, I think foreign film is so ahead of us in the way they tell a story, because we are like 40, 50 years set back because of that goddamn code.
Yeah, 100%. So when you do get older and you finally watch these foreign films, and whether it be, Jean-Luc Godard or Akira Kurosawa, or, whatever it is, whatever's, your bag is, for us, it's Akira Kurosawa right now. And this guy, it's no joke how much he influenced the stuff we love and grew up watching.
Yeah.
And that is what it's all about. It is so rewarding to see the source of something, to see the source of so much great art. And man, Hidden Fortress is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Another guy who worked with Kira a lot, Takashi Shimura, is that how you say his name, I believe. He worked with him countless times as well. And man, this guy is in all the films we watched as well, just like Toshiro. And just incredible stuff. Really funny, really good timing for it being the 50s. It moves so well.
Because the 50s in America is very different from the 50s.
Exactly. What we are trained to see is so much different. And that's why something like On the Waterfront is so special in America, because it is different. And it does kind of go there. But then you're watching this stuff in Japan, it just comes out every year.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, if you look at the trajectory of America and Japan after World War II, I mean, we just won a war. We just showed the world that we were, we dominated. We were celebrating. Japan was just nuked and they lost their national pride. So their redevelopment as a nation, I think, was very dependent on, cinema that is very grandiose and very, prideful and celebrating the age of the samurai, arguably the greatest generation of Japan's culture. And I notice a lot of these films are very much, we're still the best and, everything's, we rock. And I love that mentality. It's maybe not for the right reasons, but it's cool to see that kind of comparison where, we've watched some 50s movies on this podcast before, mostly American 50s movies.
Yes.
And now we get to compare and contrast, and it's such a very different animal.
Oh, way different beast. And Hidden Fortress, I kind of knew that would be your favorite. It influences the start of something that's so special for Star Wars fans. You look at the late 70s film, and it really does. It has a lot of shit that's directly from the film, and I have zero problems with that. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool when you can see art rubbing off on another director. I love that. I think it's really cool. And Hidden Fortress is a special one. I highly suggest it to people. That was 1958, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So let's go a few years back to 1954 for the 3.5-hour epic Seven Samurai. Now, this film, if you go on IMDb or Letterboxd or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever it may be, it's ranked very, very, very high, very high. And maybe, we're showing a lack of street cred here. Maybe. I disagree, because I think we've done our homework here, but neither of us found it to be the masterpiece that people say it is.
Yeah, that's I always feel like an idiot when that happens. Should, because it's, all art is subjective. There's the 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't think any movie is worthy of 100%. I think that is amazing. For a movie to be 100% universally loved by everybody is a miracle. And Seven Samurai has 100%. And no, I don't see it. I think this is a movie that's very bloated. I think that it doesn't devote enough time to character development. I think that the stakes don't seem nearly as high as they should. I mean, they kind of take out those bandits really easily. Like, did they really need these samurai? This does not seem like a 7-man job. Like, the bandits are so ineffectual, and I didn't feel anything when 4 of them died. Like, I don't know. I had the same issue with, oddly enough, the American remake, The Magnificent Seven.
Yes.
It's just, I don't think this story works. And that's just my opinion, but whatever.
No, I'm with you to an extent there. I think Seven Samurai is very, very good and has some very, very stylish directing. Very stylish. The cinematography is stellar. I'm not going to botch that guy's name. He also worked with Kurosawa quite a bit. Fuck it. Kazuo Miyagawa. That sounds about right. He was the cinematographer on a lot of these films in the 50s with Akira. And geez, these guys, they're just so far ahead of the game when it comes to transitioning and all the editing stuff and angles, all the fundamentals of filmmaking, and directing and camera work. It's all there with these guys in the 1950s, and we've talked a lot about how in the 30s, 40s, 50s, there's a lot of American films where they're just pointing a camera at actors and go. And, that gets kind of boring, and gets redundant. But here with Kurosawa, it's just not the case. In Seven Samurai, if you want that kind of atmosphere and that style, I highly, highly suggest it. But I'm with you. The story itself, for me, is overrated. I love a long, long, slow burn. My favorite movie of all time is Magnolia, because they build and build and build and build and make you feel a certain way about each character. Whereas, Seven Samurai, it feels as though, like you said, it's the character development is lackluster, and I didn't feel a connection to really any individual. Now, I love watching Toshiro perform. Love him. Absolutely. I've kind of fallen in love with his style of acting, the past year or so, as I've introduced myself to Kurosawa and him as an actor. Good Lord. But the characters themselves, I just don't feel that connection. And then that last scene, when you do see the swords, on the hill, and these guys are buried, and I didn't really feel the 3.5 hours like, oh, that was epic. I felt more like, all right, cool. Like, that was good, but I'm ready to see more Kurosawa. I kind of was ready to move on, which is what I did. I watched Rashomon right after.
Yeah, I think that when a film is declared a director's masterpiece, it's tough to be on the opposite side of that conversation without looking like you don't know what you're talking about.
For sure. Yeah, there's people who would think we sound like fucking buffoons. That's fine. And neither of us are saying it's a bad film.
Yeah.
But this would be like if neither of us had seen anything directed by Tarantino, and you just said, all right, this one's the masterpiece, and then you go into it and you're kind of let down. Shit can happen sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're saying, nobody speaks English, so this is a piece of shit. We're not.
Oh,
it's not who we are.
No. No. And I think you gave the film on your review, gave it a 7, and I would give it an 8. Yeah. We're not calling it, bad by any means, but we both like Hidden Fortress a little bit more. And then Rashomon, I definitely like more. Yeah, so there's more work for us to do in the 50s and back to the 40s, and then you go into the 60s, and we'll surely do the last stages of Kurosawa, right, on this show, which is where I kind of want to steer the conversation a little bit more before we talk about Rashomon. I want to talk about Kurosawa some, and this guy, his importance on cinema, but also the Oscars, which is what we love to talk about here on this show, Oscar Sunday. 5 of his films over the course of Oscar history have been the Japanese submission. That's the most for any Japanese director, by kind of a mile, because there's only one other guy who has 2, and then everybody else has 1. So Kurosawa is looked at as, in the Western culture, the greatest, Japanese director of all time, and one of the greatest, directors out of the Eastern part of the world. In 1971, Kurosawa was going through some shit, mentally, right? And if you have a weak stomach, I suggest you maybe don't listen to this part. But Akira Kurosawa tried to take his own life at one point. This guy, slit his wrist and throat up to 30 times. It is documented, and he survived and kept going, and kept making films. He goes on, if you're a fan of his, he goes on and makes Ran, which some people see as his masterpiece in the 80s. And, continues to work. And then in 1995, he experiences a slip and fall while he's on set for a film and breaks his spine, which puts him in a wheelchair for the last 3 years of his life. He died of a stroke in 1998 at the age of 88. And, very dark life. And I think it would be silly and stupid for me to not bring up the man's life, the man's personal demons, because that clearly has an influence on his work, obviously. And, it gives me chills when these things about an artist. How tough of a life they had. They clearly had some things going on there in their head that they were battling. He wasn't really, well recepted in his own country. it's really tough, right? When you know these things and you start watching their art, their craft, and you can see the demons on the screen.
Very much so. His films are dark. His films deal with personal tragedy and national tragedy. And the ones that I've seen anyway have all been very grandiose, like huge scale films, except for Rashomon, which is kind of takes that mentality and puts it into a few people, which was very smart. And yeah, I can see that he's a tortured artist, but damn, that is 30 times. Good.
Yeah, there's various articles and obviously lots of books written about the man. And I just kind of took a dive into the internet, and read some stuff about that incident, what all happened in 1971, and he's just dealing with a lot of stuff. He was 61 at the time when it happened, and just you think an artist has it all or whatever, and they're people, and that's we like to bring the people part of these artists up on these shows, Filmgazm, Oscar Sunday. That's what we're going to do. We like to humanize these guys, but also praise the art, right?
Yeah.
And that goes for anybody, that goes for someone who's passed away or someone who we feel like has just been a dickhead, like Roman Polanski. No matter what it is, you kind of have to, talk about it all. But mostly we want to praise Kurosawa's work here. So Rashomon, it actually, at the Oscars, it skipped a year because foreign films do this all the time. Shit happens. They don't come out in the US until a year later. So in 1952, it got an honorary award at the 24th Academy Awards. 24th Academy Awards. Let's take a look at what we got here. That would be the year that An American in Paris won Best Picture. A Streetcar Named Desire had 12 nominations, leading all films. And then you have Rashomon with an honorary award there. And that's when you start seeing the Academy paying attention to foreign films. What's going on over there? And then time goes by, and then in the 60s they make a proper category, best foreign film, and that shit keeps coming, and then years later, oh shit, all of a sudden these films are up, Z, which is a film we did, is up for best picture too. What the hell's going on? And it creeps in, and then you fast forward to 2019, and you have Parasite winning Best Picture, and you got to think films like Rashomon and like the 50s stuff that Kurosawa is doing, and the 60s stuff that Federico Fellini is doing. You got to respect those guys because they paved a way and opened the door for foreign film to really come into the United States and take over.
Yeah, that's true. And also at the time in the country, I mean, we were paranoid as fuck. I mean, for a Japanese film to be honored in any way, just 5 years after the end of World War II is kind of incredible. Like, it just goes, it shows kind of the progressive side of the arts. And I wish that mentality had been, pushed a little bit more nationally in our country. We might not have done so much heinous shit in the 20th century.
Yeah, no kidding, right? God, Jesus, man. I think about you really put yourself, say if we were in our 20s and you put yourself in the 50s, this would just blow our minds, and I have to see this movie.
Yeah.
What the hell is Rashomon? I gotta know. We would be those nerdy kids who are lining up, like, we gotta know what's happening.
But there'd also be people who are, still very angry and very sour and consider Japan the enemy still. And
oh my God, they would think there's people who are frustrated that a Korean film was just won.
Yeah.
Still, Donald Trump didn't even like it. That fuck.
By the way, congratulations to President-elect Biden.
Yeah, that's right. The timing of the show, it's been a while, but good Lord, it was a long election there. It was a long election week. So yes, congrats to Joe and Kamala Harris. And let's keep talking Rashomon.
That's about as political as we're gonna get. I think it's interesting that, this doesn't happen very often, but it like you said, it does seem to happen a lot with foreign films, that they'll be contenders in two separate ceremonies.
Yeah.
Such an odd thing to happen. I don't know. I feel like once you're up for one Academy, like once you're up for one Oscars, you don't get to play with another Oscars. I don't care what country you're from. That should not be a thing.
Yeah, even and you know me, man. Some like one of my favorite movies of the century would be Alfonso Cuarón's Y Tu Mama Tambien, and it didn't compete at the Oscars till like 3 years after its initial release in Mexico. Fuck that.
Doesn't make sense. So that first Oscars, any films on here that you've seen that you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would love to talk about the 24th Academy Awards a little bit here because there's some interesting facts. First off, our boy Humphrey Bogart wins Best Actor for The African Queen.
Yes.
Which is in fact the last man born in the 19th century to win the award.
Huh.
Isn't that wild? So after from there on out, it's guys who were born in the 20th century, and of course that's how it's going to be for a while, until we have someone who's the last 20th century man, which would be crazy. Good Lord.
We're going to see it.
Well, that'll be like Timothée Chalamet or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, Lucas Hedges or someone like that. I don't know. Who knows who's in the mix? You know who's really good is that kid that was in Ford vs Ferrari.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember his name.
That kid was really good. He's in something else last year, I feel like. Let's find this kid's name. I feel like this guy's got a future, and I want to document it right here.
Noah Jupe.
Yes, there we go. Noah
Honey
Jupe.
Boy.
Oh, he's in Honey Boy. That's right. He basically plays Louis Stevens. Yeah, little Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, he'll go. Yeah. He'll be going places.
Yeah, I feel like that kid's got something there. But yeah, Bogey. Have you seen African Queen?
I have. It's a great movie.
Yeah, dude. Bogey deserves, from what I've seen, like 4 Oscars just from the shit I've seen.
He keeps impressing me with every film of his I watch. He really was like maybe the best actor of that generation. Like him and Brando.
From what I've seen. That's tough. Yeah.
I know.
That's kind of like, what would you compare that to today? If there are two guys who are kind of like the Titans.
Can we count Daniel Day-Lewis? I mean, he did retire.
Yeah, maybe he's passed already. Maybe Daniel Day is more of someone of the past generation. I don't know.
Maybe. I think Leo is one of those guys.
Leo and Pitt?
Maybe.
I think those might be our two like most talented Hollywood guys in their 40s. Or is Brad Pitt in his 50s now? Yeah.
Yeah. Brad's in his 50s.
Yeah.
And Leo's creeping up there.
He just turned 46 like 3 days ago. Leo.
Goddamn. I think that in a few years, I think Daniel Kaluuya is going to be one of those guys. The more I see of him, like I can't fucking believe his range. So I think he's going to be a big time contender. I think we're going to look back on his career fondly.
Oh my God. I agree. I think that's a great call. And if I had to pick someone who is also really young, Lakeith Stanfield, holy shit. Same thing. These guys, the fucking range. I really like, Paul Dano is a guy who's in his 30s who has proven that he can direct now.
Yeah. I think
he's someone who we could see like really do something amazing throughout his 40s and 50s, maybe. I don't know. I love the idea of, Bogey and Brando, Redford and Hoffman, Hanks and Washington. That's the best shit, right? When you get 2 awesome actors, and hell, I'll throw Toshiro and Takashi in there.
Very nice. It is cool. Especially I like knowing that, paying attention to all this shit as it happens is really neat because we're witnessing the rise of the next generation of these people, of these guys. Timothée Chalamet, Lucas Hedges, Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano. These are guys who are going to be talked about 100 years from now as some of the greatest of this century.
Okay, that's an incredible point and topic, because if you really think about it, go back to when we were 10 and Brokeback Mountain comes out, and it's this monumental performance for both dudes and for Michelle and Anne Hathaway. Amazing stuff. And when it's happening, it happens, they're all in their 20s and it happens. But then 15 years go by and all this shit happens. One of them passed away. Jake Gyllenhaal has done all these amazing things. Anne Hathaway has done all these amazing things. Michelle Williams, Oscar nominations for some of these people. And if you blink, that shit's going to go by, man. You're not going to witness it, And yeah. I'm with you. A guy like Timothée Chalamet and Lucas Hedges, I want to see everything they're doing right now, everything. Because when they do break through and win those Oscars, I will already have been, I was there. I saw what they were doing. I knew it was coming. Daniel Kaluuya is a surefire. To me, he's a surefire guy who's going to get an Oscar win at some point. I love what he's doing in Widows. Holy hell.
He scared the shit out of me in Widows. Oh my God. I'm glad I can finally talk about that movie.
Yeah. I love how Rashomon in the 24th Academy Awards just opened up talking about actors here.
Oh, it rolls. This is an unscripted show. We just think of, we try to stay on topic, but shit just comes up.
There's nothing we can do. I promise we'll get to Rashomon here shortly, but I love the actor discussion. Yeah. And do you find Toshiro to be a guy that you're wanting to go back to?
Absolutely. I mean, he is the standout of everything I've seen of Kurosawa's. He's a very distinct character actor. All of his characters are different. I love that. That did not happen a lot in the, early centuries of film. It was very much just, an actor gets the script, an actor reads the script, an actor goes home. There were very few character actors, but Toshiro Mifune is a guy who really gets overlooked. And he's a fucking powerhouse. That guy could be scary. He could be hilarious. He could be dramatic. Like, he's kind of all of that in Rashomon. But, yeah, I fucking love that guy.
Me too. He screams in a way that I've never seen done in front of the camera. He does things. It doesn't even feel like he's acting. I don't even know what he's doing. There's some people that if they did what he's doing, I would think that they're stupid and look like morons. But he pulls it off. He really does. And that's kind of what you always look for, right? In acting. You want a guy who only can do that. And yeah. It's him. He's the only man who can do these jobs that he's doing, these performances that he's doing. In Drunken Angel, you got to see that. He's fucking scary in that. Just his scowl. And I guess he's that way in all of them. Jesus Christ. I was enticed by Akira Kurosawa and Toshiro by Toshiro's face on Criterion. And I see the Toshiro Turns 100 collection, and it has a bunch of movies that he's been in. And I saw his face, his screaming face holding a sword, and I'm in, I gotta know who's that guy. And then as I learn and read, people love this guy. This is one of those actors that people just latch onto, and he has a whole fan club, and I'm a part of it now. Oh man. I can't wait to get more of his performances under my belt.
Damn straight. I was looking into his trivia just to learn some stuff about this guy.
Yeah, me too, on IMDb. Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that he was up for Mr. Miyagi in The Karate Kid. But
can you imagine? Oh.
Well, he lost out to Pat Morita because Mifune's audition was fucking terrifying. He was playing way too scary.
He's too big, too tall, too strong, almost too masculine for so many roles. This guy, it doesn't matter. Even if he was short, and if I read that he's actually not that tall, I don't believe it. Because on the screen, he looks massive. The way he uses his body, the way he uses his legs and his hair, just whether it's, bunned up or dangling down, or he's got his big beard, he is just a frightening, awesome dude to watch.
He was only 5'8.5". I'm taller than Toshiro Mifune, but I don't feel taller than Toshiro.
It does not matter. He makes me believe it.
Yeah. God damn. amazing guy. That, like, his only accolade, like his biggest accolade, he was up for a BAFTA in 1956, and then he was up for an Emmy in 1981. But that's like kind of all his biggest Western nominations. He never was considered for the Oscars or Golden Globes or anything, but he is beloved in Japan.
Oh yeah, he's the man. He's the man. Now he's moved his way west, obviously, over the years, and more people like him. And there's young people like us out there who just dig this kind of shit. And that's who we're trying to reach out to with this episode, is, hey, we're watching Toshiro as well. We're not just watching American Oscar nominated movies. We're watching this deep shit too. And this will not be the first or last foreign related episode that we do. There's plenty of individuals that we want to cover, but we felt that Akira was going to be the best to do because he kind of marries Filmgazm and Oscar Sunday, right? Because his style is so unique and so badass that a lot of his films could fit on Filmgazm on that podcast, and they could certainly fit on here.
Yeah, prior to Sean Connery's death, we actually had The Hidden Fortress as its own Filmgazm episode this week. But
yes,
we swapped it out to honor a great actor. But yeah, I can definitely see, we'll be putting some Kurosawa films on the list for 2021, I'm sure.
Fucking A, man. Well, yeah, why not? I mean, this guy uses all kinds of different characters, uses everyday kind of people, uses samurai, bandits, woodcutters, he'll do anything. And I love that. And that's a great way to just really, really dig into Rashomon here. Your first thoughts on the film?
Well, first, let's talk about the other Academy Awards it was up for. Of
course. Well, let's see. I think it was just nominated for one, right?
Art direction for black and white.
Yes. Yeah. Let me hear. Yeah, you're right. Let me hear what that was up against.
We've got Viva Zapata, Rashomon,
yes.
My Cousin Rachel, Carrie, not Stephen King, but a 1950s Carrie, and the winner, The Bad and the Beautiful. I have not seen these other films, but the set design in Rashomon's pretty nice. It's well done.
Oh yeah, spectacular. And we'll surely watch those other films sometime in the future, because that's what we're trying to do here, is just watch all kinds of Oscar nominated movies. Yeah. And I love that Rashomon breaks in, not only getting the honorary award, but also getting art direction nomination. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's rare for foreign film in that time to really get anything. In this film, it got something. Seven Samurai was up for, I think, costume design and art direction.
Gate of Hell in 1953 was up for costume design. Yeah, there's random ones in the 50s. Yeah,
it's nice to see just a little glimpse of the future, a little glimpse of progression, and it's those little Oscar nominations that paved the way for a Parasite win in 2019.
Exactly. Love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. The Oscars are a global thing, and I love that we're giving some time to the foreign side of the awards.
Oh yeah, it's very, very, very important. Rashomon is arguably, you could call it the most important, or you could call it, the first or whatever it is for the Oscars, because it just broke in. It broke in and just demands an honorary award. And I'm really excited, because obviously, if you've listened to the show before, we're going to give some awards out for this film. But I do want to ask you before, just the plot devices of this film. I found it to be just rewarding as hell to go down this road and watch this film. I just want to get your general thoughts on it before we dig into these awards.
It is certainly rewarding. It's very cool to see this in action, to see this kind of, this trope, which we've seen 100 times in various TV shows and movies, but to see it done first is really remarkable. And every story stands out. I love that everyone's fucking lying. And in the end, is that really what happened? We don't know. Maybe, the woodcutter could be, shooting his mouth off again. But if that is what happened, it's fucking tragic and really sick. But I was very surprised at how grown up this movie was. It came out in 1950. This thing has, it deals with murder, rape, aggressive people doing just dark shit for the fuck of it. It's really like overbearing at times. It's kind of nuts. And that goes right back to Kurosawa and his, his problems. He had this mental, this mental illness, and that he, I think, manifested in his film with a very dark lens. And Rashomon definitely has that dark side of things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, he also is not just a wonderful director, but he also wrote a lot of the screenplays for these films, and he adapted this screenplay from Rashomon from In a Grove. And apparently, yeah, he just takes it to the next level. He just wants to get the weird shit in his mind on the screen, and maybe some people will relate to it or dig it, and I do. I certainly do. I certainly liked Rashomon quite a bit. My favorite so far is still Drunken Angel of all the films I've seen of his, but Rashomon is probably second.
Right on. I'm only 4 in the bag, so I'm still on Hidden Fortress. But
Hidden Fortress,
I'm certainly not
great.
done.
Oh no, we got so much to do, and we got more decades to cover. I can't wait. But right now, let's really dig into this one and talk about what we really love about it. So I'll let you start with your Tarantino award for your best quote or line.
Okay. So this comes from about middle of the movie. They're talking about whether or not they think, I think the wife, whether or not she's lying about her testimony. And
okay.
Somebody says to the woodcutter, "It's human to lie. Most of the time, we can't even be honest with ourselves." And I thought that was brilliant, especially considering later on, like, the woodcutters reveal that he was lying the first time. Like, or is he lying now? It kind of leaves you, like, Kurosawa kind of leaves you to make your own decision about that.
Oh, for sure. He definitely, the end of the movie, you think, oh, okay. You're like, wait a minute, that could have been a lie. But the movie has to end at some point.
Yeah. And I just thought that was a great line.
It is. That is a genius line. I wrote that one down, but then I crossed it out and picked a different one. But mine's actually said by the same guy. It's the commoner is kind of his name. He doesn't have an actual name. It's just his title in the movie. Very similar style. He's just arguing with the woodcutter, and we all want to forget something, so we tell stories. It's easier that way. Ugh.
Damn, man. 1950. So ahead of its time.
We both chose meta shit that's just kind of like, it kind of describes the whole film. We both chose quotes that really dig into what the movie's trying to do and the kind of storytelling it is, and fucking with you so that at the end of the movie you still have no idea what to take from it. And I love that. I love when a character tells you what's going on and you kind of still have to think about it. This is something that the Coen brothers do so well. They know that they're distracting you. They know they're telling you stories, but they're so damn good at it.
Very true. Again, more filmmakers influenced by this guy.
Oh, 100%. And Bella Buster Scruggs, literally at the beginning, it's like they're telling you at the beginning of the movie, this is going to be a bunch of stories and we're just here to distract you. Come on down, and it's like, and you just watch for an hour and a half, and that's what we do. It's what we do. We love filmmaking. We love unpacking it. But at the end of the day, the director is playing God, right? Is like, I'm in control of this hour and a half and I'm going to take you wherever I want. And we're just fucking willing to do that. And I think that's amazing when you give that up. And Kurosawa has such a control and an understanding of his audience. I love that about him.
Before we continue, I do remember a declaration I made last week where I talked about Clint Eastwood. And I do have to clarify that before we get ahead of ourselves.
Hell yeah.
So the 1961 film Yojimbo, which is one we didn't cover today, but we will certainly be doing on Filmgazm at some point.
Oh, yeah.
A film that may be the most influential in pop culture of Kurosawa's entire career. It's the film that was remade in Italy as a Fistful of Dollars. And Kurosawa actually sued Leone, won, and got name recognition on the film. But Clint Eastwood, that was his breakout role, the man with no name in Fistful of Dollars. And that role catapulted Clint Eastwood to American and worldwide superstardom. And also Yojimbo, the template for Miller's Crossing as well. Like, it's a film that has just kind of been retold in so many different ways that you like, the amount of films that are based on that movie is kind of staggering. So that's all I got for that.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that. Right, and that of course comes in the '60s. So we're trying to stick with the '50s. We had to cap it somewhere.
I know.
I mean, honestly, the way I feel about Kurosawa, how amped I am about just finding a new director, and you go on this walk with them. I want to do 10 movies in a row on these podcasts, but we got to have variety, and that's not what this podcast is all about. We like to change it up, and at some point we got to cap it. And Seven Samurai is 3.5 hours, so we weren't just watching movies, we were watching like kind of long movies. Hidden Fortress is like almost 2.5, so yeah, it's there's some meaty stuff here.
Yeah, and like we said, this is not going to be our last time in Kurosawa's career. We were going to do a few episodes on this guy in our in the long run.
Yeah, you will hear his name plenty with Filmgazm Productions, that's for sure. Well, let's move on to the Ennio Morricone. I'll start this one. It's our best music moment. I have something pretty specific, and I'll see if you can remember exactly, because it's hard for me to totally. It's at the 31-minute mark. I wrote that down, and the camera pans up to the trees and the sky. It's very hard to say exactly what's going on. It's in the second. No. Sorry. It's while Toshiro is speaking about his story. It's while Toshira's character is telling his part of the story, and the music turns to this almost. I almost felt like it was out of the film Annihilation, like wah, wah. And I've never seen that in a '50s film or anything where the instruments feel like they're almost ringing. Where it was kind of like, oh, I see some Midsommar in here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you remember that scene. It's a very disillusioned scene, and the film has many of those where you're just kind of like, well, what exactly is happening? Almost dreamlike, right? Because it's imagination, storytelling, imagination. And there's just right there, it's right at the 31-minute mark. There's just a part of the score that just kind of made my heart jump. And I can't quite describe it, but if you watch it, be on the lookout for that part. It's a really cool bit of music.
That is really specific, and I wish I could think of what you're talking about, but I do not.
Well, and I tried to find the name of the piece, and when you look at the score, it's just part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and so it's like, oh my god, you have to listen to. You would have to listen to the whole thing to really. It really is a moment of music, and that's what the Ennio is about. It's about a moment of music or a soundtrack bit, a needle drop, if you will. But that was the moment right there where it really kind of got the hairs on my neck to stand. It was just this kind of ringing, and I couldn't believe it, at that moment. And this movie is filled with these, just bizarre retellings, of these dark things happening. And so the music is fitting at times.
Yeah, for sure. I went with something a little bit more upbeat. For me, it's the beginning of the Woodcutter's Tale, his first tale, where he's walking through the woods and just kind of talking about what he saw that day. And it's very much, it feels like a Disney drop, like a 30s Disney drop of just, walking through the woods, but it slowly turns ominous the closer he gets to the body. And then when he finds the body, it's a completely different score. And I thought that was very smart. It was like Snow White walking through the woods, and then the woods get evil. It reminded me of that.
Oh, for sure. That's it. That's a great call. I know exactly what you're talking about. Because this movie was one of those where I locked in and really didn't move for the entire hour and a half. It kind of just kept me there. It's the pace of it's nice. It's very creepy and weird. It's up my alley, but it's also an hour and a half, and you're just kind of locked in, and that's it. And then it's over, and you're just kind of left to figure it out. I love that bit, and the Ennio could go to a lot of moments here. There's a lot of little pieces of the score that they're just real nice, and it really describes what's happening, and that's what it's all about. You want it to become the character of its own. Great call, man. What's your PSH?
Well, it's not Mifune.
Who is it? I figured.
It's Machiko Kayo, who plays the wife, Masako. And it's because of the final bit with the woodcutter's true tale. And she becomes this manipulative, evil woman. And I didn't expect that at all. It's like it was a complete 180 on the character, and I thought that was brilliant. And it locked me in, and I was like, this lady is crazy. And yeah.
Yeah, she's so good. Super creepy performance. It kind of reminded me of I can't remember the woman's name, the performance in Kiraneko from 1968. Just this kind of pale look that just gets you, man. And it puts you into an atmosphere. That's a great call. Mine goes to Toshiro. I thought he I'm just a sucker for him. When he's sitting down and he's tied up, if an actor can do that, and I'm just staring at him, I'm like, oh my god, this guy's crazy. I'm just watching everything he's doing, and he's just sitting there. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, I figured one of us was going to do it, and I figured you would, so I wanted to spotlight somebody else who I thought was just as good, if not better, at times.
I agree with that. I am biased towards Toshiro, so yes, I think she was fantastic.
Right on.
Awesome. Let's talk about the deacons here. This would be the best scene, best moment of the movie. What is it for you, Connor?
For me, it is the woodcutter's true tale. That bit was so eye-opening and really kind of paints all of these characters as horrible, horrible people. I mean, Mifune's character for raping this woman and then trying to proclaim his love for her. The husband for saying, "You're soiled, I don't want you anymore," to his wife, and the wife for pitting these two men against each other for her affections. Like, all three of them are just complete pieces of shit in this scene. And it really repaints the whole movie as just one big lie to save face. And I thought it was just, I was glued that whole bit. I was like, this is nuts. And yeah. And in the end, I love that Kurosawa does not tell you that that's the truth. He just says, nope, like, it's a truth, and you can choose to accept that or not. And brilliant finale to this movie.
Yeah, extremely strong finale that I find to be the most effective form of ending a film is, to leave the audience in kind of disarray, but also, I gave you the fact. I gave you what you needed to see. It's up to you now, and I really do like that. I very much appreciate that. My deacons goes to a pretty specific thing that happens, and that would be the moment that the deceased samurai is speaking through the medium. Now, you know me, Connor. I'm a sucker for when a film just kind of turns itself, on its head, and that was it for me right there. Was the moment that the music at one point for me made my heart, kind of skip a beat. This made when I heard that voice, my heart skipped a few beats. And this is what I watch movies for, is that those kind of whack ass moments out of nowhere that still fit, that still makes sense, that Akira still pulls off in the middle of this story of all these 4 different stories. You're watching this medium. What the hell? That's wild shit. I love when movies do that. I love when they have a moment of like, it draws a fucking line in the sand, dude. It really does. And it's like, are you here, or are you just like, no, I'm not here? And I crossed the line right away. Like, I'm in. I want this. This is fucking awesome. That it just got that much darker and stranger. And that was a specific moment when that happened. I was like, that's my deacons.
That is a very oddball scene, and I had that pick before the end of the movie, but the more I thought about that scene, the more I was just like, this is so weird. Like, why is this here? You have like a very serious movie about a rape and murder trial, and then suddenly there's a fucking ghost. Like, what the? But it's so neat and played so well that you can't help but get drawn in.
Yeah, you just go with it. You're like, whatever, I believe it. Whatever, we're gonna keep going. It's fucking nuts, man. Yeah, but the finale really is just amazing. And when the priest is let down, and then, oh, my hope, my faith and hope is restored, and gives the baby to the woodcutter, and he runs off, and the end, it's just spectacular.
Woodcutter at first is like, put that back, it doesn't belong to you. Like very much a Frank Reynolds type reaction to finding a baby.
Dumpster baby, yeah.
But it was weird that he's just suddenly like, you know what? I got 5 kids. What's one more? Give me the kid.
Yeah. And the priest is like, you're right. Yeah.
Suddenly the world is a bit brighter. Okay. He's probably going to leave that baby in a ditch, but okay.
Yeah. And that's not for us to see. Akira ends the movie there, and that's it. I loved it, man. I could see it raising up to a 9, but for now it's an 8. But I could see it going up. I'm definitely going to rewatch this one.
It's an 8 for me as well. And I heard HBO Max is actually working on a series remake of this.
Yeah.
So I'm not, jazzed. They tend to fuck that up every time. But I don't know. Maybe I'll take a look.
Yeah, maybe. TV just don't have a terrific amount of time for it. When you watch 7 hours of Akira Kurosawa movies in 1 week, that's kind of what you're doing. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was like 7 hours. Oh my God. The things we do for this podcast.
Yeah, well, that's basically, a mini series or whatever, so
essentially
we're kind of choosing film over TV, and I'm 100% okay with that.
Yeah, I've got, there's hundreds of iconic films I haven't seen, and I don't really give a shit about iconic television shows. Like, what am I going to do? Binge watch Newhart? Come on. So, yeah, I think I'm making the right decision.
Yeah, man. And, we're going to continue to try to watch new stuff for this show, but also praise stuff we love. We got to do fucking, Moneyball, and we get to introduce ourselves to Rashomon, and it's an absolute blast.
Hell yeah, man. And I guess with that, let's take a look at what happened this week in film.
Yes, sir.
Been a lot of shit going on this week, so I've got quite a list.
No kidding, man.
First up, and this was just neat because I don't know if you ever heard about this story, but it was bonkers. Stephen Frears and Steve Coogan are teaming for a movie called The Lost King, which is about the discovery of King Richard III's bones from a few years ago. Did you hear about that story at all when that happened?
Yeah, and I am in. I love Stephen Frears. Come on.
For those of you who don't know, a few years back, they were doing some redevelopment in a parking lot, and they found the bones of Richard III in that parking lot, buried beneath the asphalt.
What in the hell?
Yeah, so I'm very excited about seeing that movie. That sounds fascinating.
Jesus, dude. I mean, yeah, Stephen Frears, this guy. Beautiful Laundrette, The Grifters, High Fidelity. Connor, what else do you like? The Queen, Philomena.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, God, that guy's awesome.
This was sad. Jeopardy game show host Alex Trebek has died at age 80 from pancreatic cancer. He'd been diagnosed a while back. It's not really a surprise. It's just sad. And
yeah. We talked a bit about obviously talked a lot about Connery and a little bit about Trebek on Filmgazm. Yeah. If you want to hear more about Connery, definitely check that out. That was a lot of fun.
For sure. And I hear that they might be grooming a longtime Jeopardy champion Ken Jennings to replace him, which would be very appropriate.
Oh, that's cool.
He's the guy who won like $1 million something bucks, just constant like 6-month champ or some crazy number. Jeff Nichols is helming a spin-off to A Quiet Place, which will explore this universe more. Still haven't seen part 2, so I don't know if I'm excited about that yet. We'll see. This was odd. Dwayne Johnson has announced a reboot is being planned for The Scorpion King, which is going to be set in modern day. I don't know why. I think he's producing it, probably, grooming some other young wrestler to be a movie star.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Just give him back.
Modern day? Why? Why would do that? That's gonna fuck this all up.
I don't know.
This was interesting. Robert Rodriguez has been working on a new movie with Netflix called We Can Be Heroes. And it was recently discovered that it's actually a sequel to The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. So, yeah.
I was thinking we can be heroes like David Bowie, but no.
Yep. It's basically more of that insane, crazy Nickelodeon bullshit. So buckle up.
Is Taylor Lautner going to be in this one?
No, but Lava Girl has already signed on.
Well, if Shark Boy's not there, then I'm out.
What else does he got going on?
You know what I love? You know what the one of the best things ever of my lifetime of just growing up in the time that I've been alive is watching Robert Pattinson run fucking laps around Taylor Lautner.
It's not even a contest at this point. The dude's fucking
laps.
He's Batman now. Like my God.
It's like, it's like in Pulp Fiction, it's not in the same fucking league. It's not in the same fucking sport. It's like, come on. We're not even, come on.
It's ridiculous. If they like greenlit, another Twilight movie, Pattinson ain't showing up. He doesn't need that anymore.
Well, but the best thing would be that if he was like, fuck it, I'm going to act the shit out of this character. I'm going to bring this movie to,
Oh my God.
He's insane. I can't believe he's been a part of Harry Potter, Twilight, and is now going to be Batman. I can't believe it.
Coupled with all of the little, indie performances he's been doing behind the scenes, for just like fans like us.
The stuff we really, really dig. Yeah, I mean, what he's doing in The King and The Rover and Good Time. Like, fucking hell, this guy's incredible. The Lighthouse, yeah.
Hell yeah. Speaking of, Taylor Lautner terrible. We got Gerard Butler is back in the. He's doing a fourth Has Fallen movie. Night Has Fallen, because honestly, that's all he's got. If he's not fighting the fucking weather, he's fighting Secret Service agents or terrorists. So good luck, Gerard. Hope you pay off those student loans soon.
I thought when I was a kid and saw 300, I thought he was going to be a good actor or something.
We all did. We all thought he had a promising career. Turns out, not really.
Oh, man. He will not get his own Oscar Sunday show.
My God, he's barely going to get his own Filmgazm. Seriously, like what? 300 and then Die Hard in the White House and then just nothing else but shitty rom-coms.
Law-Abiding Citizen is okay.
I haven't seen that yet. I've heard it's dark and weird, but I'm looking for it.
I kind of dig that one, but that's like 1 out of fucking 30. Come on. He's in, for fuck's sake, he's in isn't he in that movie P.S. I Love You? Like,
yes,
this guy, that's like, yeah, come on, that's like on his IMDb.
He's the Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
Oh man. Chris Pratt has been confirmed to be appearing in Thor: Love and Thunder as Star-Lord, so they are going to be bringing the Guardians into that movie. Already shaping up to be an epic sequel to Ragnarok and Endgame, so can't wait.
That'll be great.
This was neat. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on this. John M. Chu has signed on to direct Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch movie.
Yeah, of course. I'm very, very, very excited, but I'm also very, very scared because 2002 Lilo and Stitch is one of my favorite, straight up Walt Disney Animation Studios movies. If I'm not counting Pixar, not counting the random stuff like a Goofy movie, which is like a whatever Disney Tunes. Just straight up, that shit that pops in theaters and makes a bunch of money. Lilo and Stitch is one of my all-time favorites. And it's very, very dear to my girlfriend's heart. My daughter seems to love it already and gets amped when it comes on. And my older brother and his girlfriend really, really love it. We kind of have there's a soft spot for all of us in my family with Lilo and Stitch. So we're very excited, but very scared because when this happens, it can potentially get a little bit messed up.
Well, Disney's track record at this point is kind of half and half. I mean,
yeah, and that really depends. I think that's a very big picture fair statement. And then if you really ask you and I, I'm probably more like 30-70, I like personally, but I'm with you. Half of them are pretty good movies.
Well, what I've seen, I loved their Beauty and the Beast. I loved the Jungle Book. I thought Dumbo was okay. I thought Cinderella was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I did not like Maleficent,
Me neither.
and Mulan. I've heard pretty bad things about. Uh,
The Lion King tragedy. I thought that was like horrible. I thought it was
Yeah.
horrible.
that was ridiculous.
I thought Aladdin. Yikes! I did not like that.
You know what? I kind of liked Aladdin, but I don't know. Maybe it was nostalgia. I have only seen it once. Maybe I do need to watch it again to really absorb it. I thought Jafar was god awful, but I thought Will Smith did a decent job.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? Is you want to be fair to Will, but I'm not. I can't mentally, like, fuck that. You can't. No, that character was played by somebody perfectly, perfectly. And this is nothing against Will Smith. I think the guy is a genius. I think he figured out when he hear me out. I think when he Connor looked at me like I was nuts. I think no, I don't think he's a great actor or anything, but I think he's a very smart guy. I think he figured out when he was young what's going to make him a lot of money and what he can pop in and be in almost every single year, every other year, and he's in America's conscience all the time. All the time. He times it out perfectly where he's in these movies that make a bunch of money and and he just is on his merry way.
Fair
And
enough.
and it totally makes sense that he would play the genie. He's this big, loud personality, and that's what Rob Williams was. But man, that I can't get over that one that easily. And Jafar was very bad, which is one of my favorite villains of all of the Disney stuff. So that was frustrating. I really like Aladdin. I did not find the remake or the live action one to have any of the charm that the 1992 one had.
You know what the thing is? That is something I've noticed with all of them. They're all forgettable, and I've only seen the ones I have seen. I've only seen once. I haven't wanted to go back. Whereas the original, the cartoons, I've seen many times and still love. So I don't know if what their
Magic.
issue is, but they've got a problem.
Yeah, they lack the well, cartoons. We also love cartoons. We love animated stuff, and these things I see on the same level as anything else. I can compare Rashomon and Beauty and the Beast. I don't think that that's a crazy conversation to have. Some people would be like, that's silly, but I love animated movies, and I think they have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Lot to say. And when you just treat them like a children's movie, and then you're like, we need to make an adult one with live real people, you're taking that away. You're taking that magic away, and you're fucking with it, and it's not the same. It's a manufactured, repatched, redone CGI, and it's not for me. I much prefer the original, the drawings, the stuff that magic that got me as a kid. And I still think gets to kids today. I still think that the cartoons are what really connects with children and people that can take their mind back to the youthful place like you and I can. And that's why these remakes will never, ever be as good. And the Lilo and Stitch one, that's how we got started on this. There's no way you can make a live action Lilo and Stitch that will be as clever, as funny, and as just emotionally, draining and amazing as the 2002 one. There's no way.
True. Very true. Well said, man. I think we found the problem.
Yeah, it's lacking magic. Yeah.
And for my final update, the Warner Brothers has already begun pursuing Johnny Depp's replacement for the role of Gellert Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts franchise. And the name that is currently leading in the running is Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that's cool. He's great, but this is silly to even be going down this road. This one's tiring because you see this is a huge star, right? Johnny Depp is a massive guy that everybody knows, and you see these kind of headlines and all this stuff and read these stories about him, and this role being taken away from him, it quite frankly just pisses me off.
Yeah, me too, especially the circumstances of how it's going down, the amount of evidence he's had.
Yes, exactly.
And nobody's taking him seriously because he's a man. Because male domestic violence is not taken seriously in this country. And this could have been an opportunity to take it seriously, but it's looking like Depp's going to lose fucking everything. And that's a disgrace.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It's frustrating because, like, people don't want to see any situation as gray. It has to be one way or the other. You can't look at you can't look at each scenario with some fucking light and some fucking perspective, and that's frustrating. You and I certainly aren't going to stand here and defend Johnny Depp every action he makes, but this is too far. This is too fucking far. You're doing things to him that should happen to guys like Kevin Spacey. And like you said, we're not just blowing, shit, blowing steam. There is actual proof here. You can go online. This has been a long thing. If you don't know what we're talking about, I don't know where you've been. It's been around. Johnny Depp has been in the headlines for a long time.
Yeah. Google Johnny Depp and you'll get there right away. But he's got taped conversations of Amber Heard threatening him, of admitting lying about all this shit. Like, what more does he need to prove that? I mean, he's got character witnesses up the ass. Like, it's crazy. He's got everyone backing him up. He's got a track record of being a really a nice person. Like, this guy's not a wife beater. I mean, that's I don't know what else we can say. Well, in that case, we said our piece on that. On the movie front, Mads Mikkelsen's a neat choice, and I think he'll take the character in a cool direction.
Same. Love Mads. I think it is a great call. Just sucks the way some of that stuff happens. Sucks.
It is like that. Now there's going to be a dark cloud over the Fantastic Beasts franchise as long as this keeps going because of how this happened.
Yeah, for sure.
Ugh. Sorry to end on a sour note there, but what are we doing next week?
Well, yeah, let's change that note to something positive. Let's talk a little bit about 1979, which is where we will be living for the next week. Connor and I are going to watch Kramer vs. Kramer, which won Best Picture. We're also going to watch Breaking Away, Norma Ray, All That Jazz, and Apocalypse Now. Those are the 5 nominees for Best Picture from that year, and we will watch them all. And Kramer vs. Kramer, because it won, will be the focus. So we'll give out awards for that film. But if you want to try to watch as many of those as you can and come join us next week, that's what we'll be doing. I have seen 3 of these, but I have not seen Norma Ray or Breaking Away. So I'm very excited to revisit 3 of them and finally see the other 2.
I have only seen Apocalypse Now. And for those of you who are seeking to pursue along with us,
yes.
Kramer vs. Kramer is on Amazon Prime right now. But
beautiful.
The rest are not. So good luck.
Yeah, they're all pretty difficult to find. I think Apocalypse Now, is the most accessible. Obviously, it's major work from 1979. A lot of people feel that it should have won the award. That's what we're going to try to figure out. We're going to try to watch all 5 and see what we think. Where I stand right now, I don't know. Because those 3 movies are awesome, the ones I've seen. So I feel like I really need the other 2 to get the full perspective. So I'm very excited.
Me too. I don't have anything to say yet because I've only seen 1, and I'm excited to go on this journey. This is going to be fun.
Hell yeah, 1979. We love the 70s. It's going to be heaps of fun, mate.
Hell yeah. And this week on the Filmgazm podcast, where Josh and I are going back to 1958 to talk the Vincent Price classic, The Fly. So tune into that. And it's going to be a good week. And we'll see you next Sunday.
Yeah, keep watching Kurosawa. Peace.